Right, welcome along to Little Steps to Epic Month. I am chatting with Sandra Wilson. Sandra, do you just want to quickly tell us what you do, and then we will start talking about being epic?
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much for inviting me today, Emily. So my name is Sandra Wilson, and I am a clinical hypnotherapist. And I specialise in helping women of perimenopause age to overcome chronic anxiety and low self-worth.
Brilliant. Much needed, much needed. So, Little Steps to Epic, I've called this month that. It's kind of about trying to be the opposite of this whole new year, new you thing, where somehow this underlying thing that somehow previously you weren't any good. And I wanted to keep it nice and positive. So what's your take on it?
Well, my take is that it's so important to create realistic, achievable goals that don't tend to get lost in the mists of time. And obviously in today's recording, I'd like to explain how you can stay motivated, because that's one of the biggest things, the action and staying motivated. I mean, I've lost track of the number of times I've signed up to the gym, I've paid a lot of money up front, and I start in earnest every January, and then come February, it's too much like hard work.
And we've all done it. We've all done it. And even when you're aware that you're doing it, you still do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's because of the way our brains are wired up. If something isn't, I don't know, kind of within touching distance that we can slot into our lives really easily and have a bit of fun with, the brain will find all sorts of reasons to get you out of it, to find reasons why you can't be bothered and justify it as well.
So how do we set achievable goals then?
Well, I think a big part of it is to start setting goals that you feel excited about, tapping into what you actually want rather than what other people want for you, so that it has to be the right goal for you. Okay. And also, you know, I know that quite a few people aren't necessarily really into setting goals as such. They can be viewed as being quite restrictive, or I don't know, a lot of people just prefer to, you know, kind of let life just happen. But I sometimes think that it's very good for keeping motivated just to have a couple of really little ones. Yeah, I mean, for most of us, there is definitely room for improvement, especially when it comes to things like taking care of our own needs, doing things for our own pleasure rather than somebody else, and looking after our health and well-being. So stuff that really feeds into what is good for us rather than other people.
I think there comes a point in most women's life where she realizes she's been putting everybody else first.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very, very common.
So I totally see where you're going with that. The idea that these goals don't need to be something external. It can be just, I will create 5 minutes a day for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole, I think one of the things that I've learned, you know, in my time as running my own business, it's really, really important to, I guess, prioritize yourself, but try to find goals that will, you know, if you try to do too much at once, you can very, very easily get overwhelmed. And that is when things start to go a bit pear-shaped. For example, if you try to set too many goals or too many ambitious goals that make us feel under pressure, it's really, really easy to lose sight of why we're doing it in the first place. Yeah. And then we end up getting stressed out and then just turn to that glass of wine or that fag or that bar of chocolate.
Yep. So how would you encourage people to start setting these goals, to start really narrowing it down to what's the right thing for them?
Right. Okay. So I mean, I'm going to talk you through a little process that has served me very well when it comes to setting my own goals, because as we both know, a lot can get in the way when it comes to staying motivated, not just menopause symptoms, but relationships, laziness, procrastination, unexpected events, etc. And it can happen to all of us. So the first thing I like to try to do is adopt what I call a fresh start mindset. And even though January is a good time of year to do that, you don't have to do it in January. You can do it every single day or every single month. And it's actually your mindset that's more important than the goals themselves quite often. And when I say mindset, what I mean is a set of beliefs that you hold about yourself and your attitude to life and to challenges. And I don't have time to go into loads of that right now, but it's just really important to start believing that you are worthy of setting and achieving personal goals. You are worth being a priority in your life. Okay, yeah. So hopefully that will help you to start perhaps getting into the habit of looking at your life and looking at the needs that you might have that need to be met. And personally, I find that a very, very simple process of setting realistic, achievable goals that I can do on a daily basis is most helpful. So if you think about every day as being a fresh start, it does not matter what you did yesterday or whether you did or didn't do something. Yesterday's gone and we can't really change that. We often lose motivation when we miss a day at the gym, or we have that one ciggy, or just eat that naughty bar of chocolate, and it can really undermine our determination to stay on track. And then we start to make excuses to justify why we can't be bothered to do it today. So when you begin each day with a fresh start mindset, it really doesn't matter if you have an off day, because we tend to, we pile so much pressure on ourselves with massive ambitious goals. Who remember, do you ever have January the 1st years ago when you would stop smoking, stop drinking alcohol, stop eating sugar, get fit, all in one day? No wonder it was the most blooming depressing day of the year.
Yeah, I've given up on that.
Giving up. Yeah, yep. Exactly.
No, it's true. And the just doing what you can do today, I think is so important. I say this to my fitness clients, yeah. I couldn't care less what happened yesterday, because yesterday's done.
Yeah.
But today, can you do more than you would otherwise do today? So is that 5 minutes? Is that 10 minutes? Is it putting on ABBA and dancing around the kitchen?
Yes.
It doesn't need to be this whole gym thing. It doesn't need to be going for a 12-mile run or whatever. It's what can you do today that will make you feel like you've achieved something?
Yeah, exactly. And that's just such a really good way of looking at it, because we tend to get overwhelmed with huge overarching goals that are a little bit woolly and not all that specific. And the other thing is about prioritizing and just picking one or two key areas to focus on. So for example, you might pick health or well-being, or career, or family, and then next month you can pick something different. So, and we talked earlier on, Emily, about the vague stuff. So these kinds of goals might include things like, I don't know, I want to get out more, I want my business to succeed, I want to get fit, or I want to get healthy. Instead of setting goals like that, which obviously are very, very good at helping you to have a little bit of direction, unless they lead to action being taken on a regular basis, they're pretty pointless. So what I try to tend to do on a daily basis is just set my intention for the day. So I actually just call it a daily intention setting practice. So if we look at, I want to get out more or socialize more as an example, this becomes, today I can, note the empowering language, today I can contact my friend. I will text her, message her first, and then we can make a plan to do something fun together. So it's really specific and achievable.
Yes, my partner has been in business for a very long time, and he if he hears any sort of wishy-washy thing, he's like, well, what does success look like? If you can't tell me what success looks like, then there's no point in having that goal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And as you say, I can call my friend. Okay,
Yeah.
I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to call my friend, and success is I've called my friend.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, goal setting in that way on a daily basis, when you really, really feel like doing it, gives you more of an impetus to take the action.
Yeah.
But then you can, you can commit to doing something most days, no matter how small, as we said before, that kind of aligns with your wider ambition. And it's very easy to, fall off the wagon and become detached from the goal itself, if you have an off day. But with the mindset that every day is a fresh start, it doesn't matter if you fall off the wagon, because tomorrow's another day. Like we said, even getting up and doing one press up. Like this morning, I got up and I did 5 star jumps.
Yeah, but
Not a pretty sight, but I did it.
If it's 5 more than you did yesterday, or 1 more than you did yesterday, then
yeah,
that's progress, and it's brilliant.
yeah.
And, it's the same when I see people going, I'm going to hydrate better.
Yeah.
That doesn't tell me anything. I'm going to drink an extra glass of water than I normally would. Understand what you're telling me.
Yeah, quite exactly. And every single time you accomplish even a very, very small goal or a small step, like I'm going to get up and do 5 star jumps or whatever, you get a rush of an important chemical in the brain called dopamine. And that is actually known as the reward neurotransmitter. And it makes you feel good and helps us stay motivated. But the reward that you get from one tiny little goal that you meet is exactly the same as if you achieved something huge. You get that little rush of dopamine, getting high on your own supply.
It's pretty good. And this is where my brain has gone to prolong the dopamine. You can then have a star chart. Always love a star chart.
yeah.
Did I do my five? Yes, I get my star. Woohoo!
And it's brilliant. Yeah. It's brilliant. But the other thing is, with a daily intention setting practice, it does allow you to take a break or just do something different if you want to. So like I said before, if you have an off day, you can just allow it to be, and then just wake up the next morning with a fresh start mindset. And every single day is an opportunity to start afresh, to nourish yourself, and to just feel good about being you, and to ensure that you're kind of on the path to a happier and, I guess, more fulfilling life. Hopefully, that's the idea anyway.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that, because that is exactly, that absolutely epitomizes Little Steps to Epic, is that it isn't taking on the world and then feeling like a failure when one day you can't get out from under the duvet. It's, if you have that day when you can't face getting out from under the duvet, it's like, well, okay, maybe I'll read a chapter of my book today. Maybe this is the positive that I will get out of today, is I will read that chapter of that book that I've been meaning to read, or I will call that friend who I've been wanting to speak to, or whatever. Rather than going, oh, I'm a failure because I can't get out of bed.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, a lot of people's brains seem to be wired. We have that horrible voice. We all have that little voice in our heads that seems to almost be like a little bully, and it's just so disempowering. And we all know that no path is completely straightforward or free from obstacles. And I think that our personal attitude towards so-called failure can also really determine whether or not we stay motivated. For me, it sounds like a massive cliche, but there's no such thing as failure, only learning.
It's true. And, I think, at this time of year, we're all being bombarded with diet adverts and gym adverts, and they are all setting us up to fail. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the diet industry, just don't get me started.
Not me.
No, it's just awful. And I do a lot of work to help women to work better with low self-worth and improve their self-esteem and reduce anxiety. And usually when you get a handle on those two things, you might even start to notice that you start to lose weight quite naturally, because you're not putting loads of pressure on yourself to do it. The more pressure you put on yourself to conform to this whatever it is, ideal type, it ramps up anxiety. And there's a very, very kind of complex relationship between the anxiety hormones in the brain and like going into what we call like the famine state, where we just feel we have to eat, you know, whatever's available. It all kind of happens at below the level of conscious awareness. So no, I hate the diet industry.
Also, as you say, if we if our intentions, if one of our bigger intentions, but that we every day do something towards, is to improve our sense of self-worth, we will by default put more nutritious food into ourselves.
We will, absolutely.
And we will by default move how our body wants us to, and we will by default seek out the things that benefit us rather than the things that harm us.
Yeah, exactly. And a big part of it as well, Emily, is accepting yourself, you know, and that you can accept who you are in this moment without kind of, you can embrace the person you are right now, but still want to work toward making some changes as you see fit. It's possible to do both those things. You haven't got to start out hating yourself and then putting yourself into some punishing weight loss regime in order to love yourself.
No, absolutely. I saw a wonderful post actually that somebody shared into the hub yesterday. I'm not going to remember the exact wording, but it was something like all these things that people say to their dogs, like, oh, what a beautiful girl, oh, that looks like a nice stretch, oh, who's got a lovely belly, all of these things. We don't say them to ourselves. We never say those kind things to ourselves. And actually, if we can treat ourselves more like we treat our pets, our children, our really loved people in our lives, we'll immediately be kinder to ourselves.
I think so too. And the funny thing is, I always talk to my dog like that. Like, my dog is my baby, and my other half always says, Sandra, if you talk to me the way you spoke to that dog, show that dog so much love.
One of my dogs, I always tell her how beautiful she is. Like every time I see her, it's just what I do. But I don't do that to myself when I look in the mirror.
No, I don't think anyone does. And I think we've had this weird conditioning, especially in Britain, that it's not considered to be, you know, we're considered to be boastful. You know, don't boast, don't brag about yourself. And yet, on the other hand, we're all expected to kind of, you know, meet this completely unrealistic ideal. It's a huge sort of paradox. It's so strange.
It is. And we could get into that in so much more depth. But
I'm going to say it's my favourite topic. But the other thing I just wanted to say a little bit more about the little steps.
Yeah.
If you can try to do something small every day, whether it's reciting 5 affirmations, whether it's doing the star jumps or just getting out for a little walk. I read somewhere that it takes 21 days to create a new habit. And it's the habitual action that you take without actually thinking about it that leads you on the right path. And if it can just slot really nicely into your life, you know, for example, I'm a morning person. I like to start my day with 20 minutes of exercise, whether that's, you know, online HIIT or a little run, because it works for me. So it has to be little and often, and with repetition, it does start to become automated, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And the thing is that we can take that back a step further to the fact that just this fresh start mindset, just doing that for the 21 days to get that as a habit. Of just every morning going, okay, today's a new day. Yesterday's in the past. I'm good.
Exactly. Yeah, and you know, I mean, this is how I work with goals now myself. I very, very rarely set these huge ambitious goals, you know, but I just have the little ones, the little things I can just do every day. And I hope, you know, hopefully that will be some, you know, something that you can adopt too if you want to make, you know, some changes in your life as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Sandra.
Okay, thank you. Do you mind if I just let you all know about my ladies group, my women's group? Yeah, so in my women's group over on Facebook, I do talk quite a bit about low self-esteem and low confidence. But also I'm doing for the next kind of, well, throughout January and maybe February, I'm going to be talking a lot more about staying motivated and connecting with yourself, and making that process of discovering what you actually want and just pleasing yourself, creating yourself as a priority in your life. So if it sounds like something that you might be interested in, are you going to post a link at the end?
Well,
or something,
do you want
so
to just say what? Do you want to say what the Facebook group?
Yeah.
Is? At the end, I'll put your website.
Oh yes,
so.
yeah, sure, yeah. So my Facebook group is called Self-Compassion Coaching for Midlife Women.
Awesome.
And my website is Sandra Wilson, clinicalhypnotherapy.org.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sandra.
That's okay. It's okay.